this obviously is our school building normally would be at Dr. Bennett School. For some strange reason, we decided to shake things up a little bit, and as you all can tell, very rocky start. So next time we're going to go back, because all the good luck charms are on that side of town. But we're happy that, thank you. We're happy that you are here. This is actually a brand new space. We received a grant a few years ago and decided to upgrade. Not necessarily go for a traditional library, but more of a multimedia center. That's what I like to call it. So, again, welcome. Just quick housekeeping items. The key to the bathroom is at the front desk. Make a left. There are 2 adult restrooms. All right, if you need to. The elevator's on the other side of the hall. So there's a hallway, blank hallway. You can take that straight down. Make a left if you, for whatever reason, get to the elevator. The stairs on the left and the right side. But we have a packed agenda. Ignore the camera. Just to give you the context, Dr. Bennett and I were invited to the City Grade Council.
No, Council for Great City Schools.
Council for Great City Schools. They have a symposium in July, and we were invited to share the work that we've been engaging in over the last few months. So we're really excited about that. We realized in order to give some oomph and some emphasis to our presentation, we wanted to capture some clips of this amazing team that we have before us. So, Mr. Carney, my resident media specialist, he's going to take some clips. Right, so just try to ignore the camera as best as you possibly can. And I promise I'll get everyone's good side, because I insist trying to get my good side. Hey, Jerry.
Hello.
All right, so we have a packed agenda. Breakfast networking took longer than we expected. A really interesting icebreaker. There's an article we want to dive into that really talks about how aggressive this AI movement is, and plans to include students as young as 12, 13 years old, starting in September. Jerry obviously is here. He's going to dive a little bit deeper into Magic Student, which is a little bit quicker than we anticipated, but once you read the article, you get the idea of where this dive into making sure we prepare our students to use AI is coming from. We have a special guest, Ms. Bosch, from Dr. Bennett School. She's going to present the work she's been doing with her students. We're going to design, you're going to have an opportunity to design your own Magic student projects, but Jerry will give you a little bit more information about that. And we are in the final stages of revising the ethical guidelines. We are ready, I believe, to present it to Dr. Thomas, but we want to make sure the team gets an opportunity to look at it once over, making the final revisions, adjustments, before we present it to the superintendent.
Our community agreements, really quickly, as we always say, own the thinking, expedite the doing. You guys are always present, so we don't even have to remind you. Equity of voice, we want to give everyone an opportunity to share their thinking. And then accept divergent thinking. I know when we started, we didn't all agree that AI, right? I'm looking at you specifically. That AI should be in schools just yet and how we should roll it out. And that's okay, right? We're all in different places in how we're using this and how we're thinking about it. So, as always, we have a fun icebreaker. And there are prizes. First, I'm going to share the prizes so you get excited. We got some, what are these? Wireless earbuds for you, or some, wow, are these cameras? Yeah.
They're not for you.
They're not for you. Can I play? I want one of these. Okay, so we're going to work in groups, groups of 3 or 4. The seating is a little tricky, but I think you guys can figure it out. And what's going to happen is we have generated some statements that are either AI generated or written by Principal Edwards and myself around specific topics. The challenge is for your group to decide if it was AI generated or human generated in a timed manner. Okay, so we'll give you like 2 minutes to decide, and then you kind of will share out, we'll keep track of the points. Okay, the team that gets the most correct wins the challenge, wins the prizes. Any questions? No, we good? Okay, so form your teams first.
Feel free to move around.
Yeah, you don't have to sit here. You can sit over here.
Nice strange looking couch. Feel free to move around.
All right.
Try to keep the groups no larger than 3 because I only have 3 of the HD cameras here. Well,
Well,
maybe
one
you can
person
share.
will get
Instead of AirPods.
AirPods. Okay. So we're just gonna call you group 1. All right, over here. How many are in this group? 4.
Group 2.
Group 2 right here. Which way does it go? This way?
Right here.
Okay.
Group 3.
Over there.
4.
4. Okay.
Bosh, you're playing?
Ms. Bosh was surprised too.
I didn't get a prize, I just wanted
Wow. Okay, group 4. Are you guys a group? So you two are a partnership? You're a group? Okay. Yeah. Group 4, and then you're group 5. All right. Second. So the first topic are short poems, okay? They are similarly themed. So it was write a poem about Mondays. This is poem A. I'll give you a chance to read it. And then poem B. So we've got A and B. I don't know. Yes.
So each one of these.
One poem was written by AI and one was written by
Okay, so it's
us.
not like a trick that it can
There,
go
no.
AI.
It's not a trick.
How do we tell you where it is?
Okay, so I'm gonna set a timer. I can't show them both at the same time at this moment, but I have them right here. So until we take them up, anyway. Okay. Y'all have to talk about it. You're supposed to deliberate. What's happening?
Can we see the first slide sheet?
I'm just kind of picking. Yeah.
Go slideshow. Quick
But then you
slideshow.
won't, let's use split screen.
There we go.
No, you won't see me
It
though.
says split screen.
Split screen, yeah. You're going back and forth?
No, it says split screen.
Press enter.
How do you split screen?
I think it's go back to your We didn't think about that.
Usually at the top it says left screen, right screen.
How's that? Does that help?
Just tap over the A. Tap B, I mean tap B.
What?
No, that's good.
One is on A, one is on B. Okay, so did y'all decide?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Hold the green.
Hold the green button. What green button?
Yeah.
Hold it down?
Hold it. And then you see what's.
Oh gosh, you could have been telling me that. Like this?
Other side.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
What?
Look at that. Just learned that.
Yes.
3 years old.
Listen, I was gonna take the picture. Okay, so let's go through it. Group 1.
Collective decision?
We did poem A as AI and poem B as human.
I'll be able to shoot.
Wait, say it again.
A is AI.
We said A is AI and B is human.
All right, so you go around and then.
Yes, okay. So A is AI, B is human. Let's see, group 2.
So it's one right now.
I think
We're gonna go with
Okay, group 2? I mean group 3?
We said A is AI and B is human.
Group 4? Come on, just pick one. It doesn't matter.
She said A, I said B, so I don't know. We kind of split.
Undecided?
Yeah. So we'll go with yours.
Which is? A is AI?
Yeah.
And group 5?
We'll just be the outlier. Just say B.
B is?
AI.
B is AI. Okay, so A is AI and B is human.
So we're gonna tell you what we did. So
After
reading it, right? We thought B was human. And I went into, just out of curiosity, an AI detector.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI detector said that A was 100% human.
Wow.
Really? Not at all.
That's why they don't
Not
work.
at all.
AI detectors
why
don't
I
work.
did it. I did it on
So,
purpose to
do you have
see.
more?
Yeah, we have a couple
Okay,
more.
all right, I'm
And it
gonna,
says 0%
you're
AI.
gonna see a theme start to be built here.
See, you can't. So you wait. So you're telling us you were cheating?
No,
DQ'd.
I
They're out.
Our human
But they're
instinct
using your
was that, yeah, we thought. B was
Yeah, you gotta
human,
use
but
your instinct.
I wanted to see what the computer.
What about B? Let you
Vocabulary.
vocabulary. What about it?
We thought B was human because it rhymed, and we pretty much were taught with poems to
Yeah,
rhyme, make
we're
sure it
like,
rhymes.
new.
So that's why we were like,
You.
Say
Yeah.
AI.
Like you were trying to read your mind.
Yes.
I wrote that myself too.
who was he?
I edited it though because it was horrible. But okay, let's look at the next one. Next one is an advice blurb. So blurb A and blurb B. Okay, I'm gonna give you a minute. Give advice to someone who always loses their keys.
That would be you, right?
No, I don't even have keys.
Hey.
30 seconds. You like it, Terrance?
I do.
Are you guessing?
Okay.
All right, seems like everyone is ready. Okay.
So group 5.
Okay, group 5.
Oh, us?
Yeah, let's go with you.
We said B is AI and A is a human.
Okay, group 4.
Said B is AI and A is human.
Group 3.
We said the same.
B is
A is human, B is AI.
okay. Group 2.
Same thing. B is AI, B is
And group 1.
Same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It
It's
is.
opposite.
Yeah, we wrote the second one. We wrote B.
Who takes their take keys to your forehead?
Why would a human even say that, right? Like, to mess with you. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I mean, we know what air tags are and smart tags, right? So we just said it.
No, that's logical.
Yeah.
But that's all more logical.
Wow. What?
These are
This
more
one, B is more
logical.
logical, yeah.
But what if I said to AI, make some of it nonsense, right? You're not assuming that that's the case, right?
that
But,
one.
Oh, I thought that was what you inputted.
That's what
Give advice.
That's a variable you use to kind of.
Right,
Yeah.
We did, but
but then we could
secondary
say,
prompt.
make it stupid, right?
Ah.
And then it's gonna trick you, but it's still AI generated.
I'm on to that one.
Right.
So the second prompt was that.
Okay, we'll do one more. Story paragraph. All right, let's see if we can get this one. Okay, so write the first paragraph of a sci-fi comedy.
Speed trap reported ahead.
There you go.
Okay, talk about it. You got 25 seconds. You're not trying to get tricked again. Now you're like, what could be the caveat? Do you know? Yeah.
I think so. There's little nuances.
Alright. Make your decision.
Sorry. That's all right.
Alright, group one, you're up.
Deliberating.
Still deliberating? Okay.
Ready?
Group one?
Are we not circling?
No, well, yeah, we started with 5 last time, so come on, Ms. Parker.
All right,
Start with 2,
so-
alright, group 2, group 2,
Fair enough.
go for it.
Equity, right?
Yep. B is AI. Okay, group 3? Group 3.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
We said A was AI and B was B.
Okay. Group 4?
We think A is AI. Right?
Okay. Group 5?
Same thing, A is AI.
Okay. And B is human. And group 1?
B is AI and A is human.
Okay. So some of you did a little better. So B is human. And A is AI. Okay, we have a tie. So we have a tie. We're in first place.
had all 3 right.
Tiebreaker. What do you-
Tiebreaker. We have a tiebreaker. So
Tiebreaker.
groups 3 and 4 are our finalists. Who are 3 and 4 over there? 3 and 4. Yeah. Okay. All right. So our tiebreaker will be image description.
Did you ask it to say something about the tri-state area?
Actually, no.
And then it came out?
Yeah.
That's why we thought, because it was local.
But maybe because I'm constantly writing in GPT, it's probably something that I've said before that made it consider like New York, tri-state.
Anybody have kids that watch Phineas and Ferb?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They talk about the tri-state area all the
yeah, a
time.
lot.
Does anybody know where that is?
No.
Tri-state areas are everywhere, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's a
Everywhere. It doesn't mean here.
Oh, that's true.
There's life
We
beyond the
refer-
Hudson.
That is
Come on,
true.
Tanika.
Yeah, right. It could be that. All right. So create an image of a futuristic classroom where robots and kids learn together. This is for groups 3 and 4. Set a timer. I'll give you a minute and a half. Everyone can guess as well if you'd like.
I know. Yeah. We're going with her. What she said, I know we're not doing that.
Okay. All right. Are we ready? Groups 3 and 4? Yeah? You guys good? Okay, we'll go with 4 first.
We said A for AI.
A for AI, and you guys?
Yeah, we said the same.
A A for AI.
Let's hear what the other groups.
But then,
I know we're going to tally up regardless, but I'm interested in what everyone else thought.
any other thoughts? Any other B? Is there any B for AI?
I could,
You thought B?
be for Ed, just personally, I'm
You
not
thought
group person. Yeah, we can talk about
Which one is it?
B is AI.
it. B sounds more organized, like.
B is AI.
B is AI, and I was wondering if you'd see the typo, like
Yes, I
human
did.
error.
Yes.
But I thought maybe you just typed it in.
Throw you up.
Yeah, but I was cut and paste,
I
right?
didn't.
Like who retyped something on it? All right, so we gotta do one more because there's still
Well, actually, I wrote it wrong because I wrote the
Oh.
explanation of why A was human, but then I switched.
Oh, so you got it right.
Yeah, so I wrote in A,
Are
there
we
is
gonna go with
a
that?
typo
Yeah.
because the H is capitalized. So I figured AI would,
Right.
Typo.
That's what I was wondering if anyone. Yeah.
yeah, so I switched, I said it.
All right, good. All right. Well, then we have a winner.
Congratulations.
Congrats, you three. Good effort. Mine is up. I think we have a prize for you
Yeah, we
too.
do.
So you guys are good. Okay. So congrats to you as well.
So-
Thank you for playing along with us. Our little shenanigans.
There's lessons in here.
Yeah.
thank
Go
you.
ahead, Jerry.
Can
Yep.
I just elaborate? Okay,
Yep.
so think of all of the prompting that you guys have done so far. Leave those, Dr. Bennett, leave those up.
Yeah. No, I.
All of the prompting that you've done now with Magic School and elsewhere, if you, God forbid, have gone elsewhere, what the prompt is, create an image of futuristic classroom, right? It's very simple and straightforward. And that response is very much in line with what that prompt was asking for. The other one, the description or the creation, had chaos and feeling and some other things embedded in it that AI doesn't know or understand unless you tell it to create something of chaos, right? Go back to the very first one that we started with, the poem. Okay, Mondays rise sleepy, coffee, mind still jog, over, roar, socks don't match once more. Okay, go to the next one. Blues, sad hues, can I snooze, I need to sleep. These are all feelings. AI has no feelings. So when you want to create AI-resistant assignments, you get kids to express how they feel in their writing. How does this make you feel? What do you see, right? Get them to be expressive because AI can't do that, right? And if you ever use the tool, how to create an AI-resistant assignment in Magic School, you'll get stuff that you'll see is expressive of expressing feelings.
Even if you ask AI to include human
Even if you
feelings?
ask it. It may give you something, but again, the next step, you know your students, right? So come at it from that lens. If you want to make AI-resistant assignments, bring feeling and emotion into things. When you're reading it, make sure that it's appropriate. Like if my son is a happy-go-lucky kid and all of a sudden he's expressing dark, deep emotions and like very bad and gloomy, I don't know if he wrote that, right? So you know your students. So that's the indicator. One is expressive feelings and emotions. AI can't do that. And then look for, in response to actually what the prompt was, what's being generated. That will give you indications.
And AI detectors are
Because they
useless,
don't work.
right?
Yeah.
It said 100%.
Interesting.
So as a teacher, we really can't take this, if you took their work and put it in, it doesn't necessarily.
Which is, if you've been following the news recently, it's a big thing across the country, particularly at the high school and
Yeah,
collegiate
because
levels.
when you think about it, what if as a professor, I put it in and said, nope, this kid cheated. You have a zero because
It
it said
happened.
you cheated.
Yeah.
It happened
You have
recently.
to dispute
And
it.
Yeah, and he had to write a paper to dispute, to
That-
prove that
to
his
prove
paper
that
was
it-
actually
yeah.
written by him. It's happening in
But
real
we
time.
still not even in college. There was always this detector in college where you put the
For
papers
the
on.
plagiarism.
Yeah, but that's like a,
Internet,
it's
so
a.
it, right, so it detected whether or not you copied someone's paper
Right.
from the internet and tried to pass it off as your own. But the AI is generated from scratch, so the detectors are not
Oh.
foolproof at all.
I mean, I could also argue that that would be a great conversation with a student. Just 2 minutes. Tell me why you feel this way. How did you come up with that? And if they express anything like that stuttering or You'll know right away, right? So the interaction, the ability to create the assignment, give them the assignment, right? We're saving all this other time by using AI. Maybe the interaction with the student needs to change just a little bit, as opposed to AI is bad and this is awful, right? Get them to be expressive about what it is that they've created. I mean, my son writes stuff all the time, and I'm like, where'd you copy that from? And it's like, yeah, I know exactly where you got that. But we stick that right now.
What's interesting also, just to piggyback off of what Jerry said, over the last about decade, there's been this real push and emphasis to teach students how to write nonfiction, right? This whole idea of expository text. But what we're noticing is AI has mastered that little bit. So what you're going to end up seeing is a shift back to narrative text, creative writing, poetry, etc. Right, which many teachers have expressed has been lost over the last year. This onset of Common Core and No Child Left Behind, this push to teach students how to write sophisticated research type papers. Now there's technology that can do that in a matter of seconds. So it goes back to something we said at the very beginning of our meetings together. We have to reimagine the way that we teach and what we're asking students to do, right? So the onus is really on us, because the kids already figured it out, whether we like it or not. The onus is on us to figure out what needs to happen now moving forward, so AI will actually be a tool and not something that can be used to, for lack of a better term, cheat.
So I'm thinking, as you're talking, I'm thinking, so what would the middle ground be like? Use AI, and that's, I guess, what this whole thing's about. But how do you balance it off, it's not just AI alone?
Teaching, well, designing assessments and activities that require them to really think in inventive fields.
Right, and that's why Ms. Bosch is here too, because she's going to kind of give an example of how you're integrating the use of AI within the curriculum, right? Sometimes it's close your computer, we're not doing that right now, and open your computer and we're going to engage in this assignment, right? And, just how you balance that out.
It will be.
It will be, yeah, for sure. But I like the word shift, and that kind of transitions us into what we're doing next, which is Principal Edwards and I go back and forth a lot about how quickly AI is infiltrating the world, right? And so we came across an article about Google's platform Gemini, and now they are about to introduce, or they've already rolled out, a chatbot for kids under 13 years old. When we started on this, we were talking about the ethical debates of how young should children be when they're exposed to AI, etc. And now they all can use it, right? We have not seen this platform as yet, so I don't know what it allows children to do or not do, but we wanted you to take a look at the article and just engage in the 4A's protocol. We've done this protocol before, in which we read and then we talk about assumptions, what we agree with, what are our arguments, and what do we want to act upon or aspire to as teachers in instruction in our classrooms. So we're going to do two things. We're going to ask that you read the article, but we also have breakfast. So we'll give you a few minutes to grab breakfast, bring it back, read the article while you eat. Feel free to spread out, right? And then we'll engage in the protocol, and we'll time check in about 10 to 15 minutes, considering you have to grab breakfast and read as well.
And let's try to stick to the 4A, so conversation is limited. Anyone want to kick us off? And you don't have to do agree, assume, popcorn. You can popcorn it out. It doesn't really matter which of the 4A's you decide to use to launch a conversation. Michelle.
I think there's clear point of view in this text about what the author agrees with. There are limitations towards it, especially on page 2 when he doesn't cover all the article, how there's not enough safeguards for kids in the AI pulled up by Google specifically.
So that would be your assumption. Safeguards, okay.
Yeah, we agree with that, because even in the parentheses at the top, it says warning families. So you're already saying this is a warning, not, this is great that this has happened, but they have something for students. I mean, for children now, it's saying, no, you have to be careful.
We had the argument would be that you need a parent permission, and we were talking about how kids can manipulate the system by pretend that the parents, because I had the other day I was doing code.org and the kids asked for parents permission. They were trying to you know, do it themselves. And I'm like, wow, like they could do it. Nobody noticed, you know? And also the age. So it asked them for the age. My students, it asked them for the age. He wants to put an older age. And I'm like, why are you doing that? He's like, because they won't give me permission. I'm like, no, if you put older age, they can give you a harder assignment. No, you have to put, and he got scared. He's like, okay, I'm going to put my age.
But to your point, so my daughter somehow figured out how to get on TikTok. So if you read the fine print, you have to be able to take it. But it's like a trust system, honor-based system. So it's assuming that the person on the other end will tell the truth. But we all know that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
Particularly, scroll right up. So whatever age in the system, she's probably 35. But to your point, children will find.
Yeah.
Right?
Even with Facebook, you have to be 13, but all my students have Facebook and they're 12. And I'm like, how?
Great point. You want to jump in?
I was going to say I agree with the fact that Google states essentially that regardless if there's all these risks that are involved, essentially it's on our end now to teach our kids like how to think more critically, how to question things, how to not just accept, copy and paste and do, and not to be passive, but to say, all right, come on, what are the moral implications here? Is this really accurate? Like, are we actually teaching our kids again to like vet sources, just like we would do anyways, right? Prior to this, like, you know how easy it is to get that instant gratification, copy paste, right? But you know, we have to teach our kids, you know, knowing their maturity level, like you need to take a moment and actually get multiple sources of information and then develop your own opinions.
What about an aspiration? So we got the arguments and the assumptions, but as educators, how do you aspire to bring this to students at a younger age? Because it seems like a trend anyway. Knowing that there are ethical concerns, right? Now I feel like it behooves us to step in and like guide them a little bit more. So how could you do that?
Well, I'm just gonna say, you know, okay, I don't want to jump into that too far because one of the things that still concerns me is the fact that they talk about guardrails, and I just got a feeling that, okay, we're gonna create the guardrails, but we're gonna really figure out what they are when after we actually roll it out, because there's no way you can actually see the impact totally yet. And it reminds me of those, you know, those ads you see where, oh, take this pill or whatever it is, because it's going to save your life, but at the same time it can kill you. I've had those situations before. So it's like, at the same time, what are the guardrails I'm kind of concerned about, especially in terms of social, emotional learning and all those mental health issues that we seem to be, it's in the headlines right now. And that's very concerning to me. At the same time, I realize this is like Pandora's box, there's nowhere else you can go but forward. So, you know, how do you really roll this out consciously, safely?
But I feel like you answered your own question and earlier as well. You say guardrails, but you can be a human guardrail, right? So when you guys were talking about parents are just gonna push it off to their kids to just jump on it and get answers, my response to you was, well, I don't know how to do things the Eureka Math way, right? But now I have a tool that's gonna help them to find the Eureka Math way of answering a question, where my frustration with my child was, I didn't learn math this way, so I can't help you. When she was young, right? This didn't exist. But now there are tools that can help the children. However, as a guardrail, we have to teach parents that they kind of have to monitor, you know, what they say and how they teach kids how to use these things. So that's what I'm kind of pushing you toward in the conversation. Where do you see yourselves as supporting children with the open Pandora's box that she's already mentioned?
Because some of the work that we've been doing is to create the guardrails, right? Because we understand the complexity and sometimes the dangers. So the work that we have engaged in, this is so new. No one knows what it's going to look like. The most that we can do is prepare, right? Prepare for the onset. To your point, Pandora's box has been open. Chaos, but we want to avoid or try to mitigate the chaos as much as possible. You were saying?
So I did this project that was, you know, the little grant, right? And the discussions that the students in first grade had in regards to AI and how to use it to help the environment. I did using AI to stop overfishing. So it was more like a, cross-cultural kind of thing, cross-curricular kind of thing. But the students started coming up with big ideas about like how they can use AI to a certain extent, but then how they couldn't trust it. So when I was like telling them certain things about like a car AI, they were like, no, that's a ghost car. There's nobody drive, that's a ghost car that's driving the car. And it's just the conversation that they started having. And then when they started applying the use of what we could do with AI in the real world, they were like, well, maybe we can stop overfishing by having like these AI police officers in the ocean, and then they could basically, when they see the net coming up, they could put some laser beams and cut the net so it wouldn't get all the fish. And I was like, yeah, but the conversation was very deep. And it was, yes, and they started thinking, and then they started peeling back, well, why does the computer recognize this fish that you guys drew and not the fish in the tank? And they were like, one girl, she kind of made a deep analysis. She was like, the fish that we drew are on white paper, so the background is not white, but the fish in the ocean have like green and all this other stuff, so that's why. And she was only first grade, but for her to think that deep about it, the conversation started going there. Yeah, so it was definitely very beneficial.
Anyone else?
I just piggybacking on your statement, I know the students, many times they're on devices more hours than they should be, so they are seeing content that talks about, some of the influencers are talking about what is good AI, what is
many capacities, and that's how I ended up sharing it with Principal Edwards and bringing it to D19 at large.
That's how we found Jerry.
That's how we found Jerry, yes.
Completely by chance, right?
You're wrong. Can I
Yes.
just add some color from a personal perspective?
Sure.
So, I am the most analytical person that I could ever be. I went to college, I became an engineer. I use AI in everything. And it's because it's information for me, right? I need to fix my car, I need to change the brakes. I don't want to go to a mechanic to do it, I want to do it myself. I want to rip out my bathroom, which I'm in the process of doing right now. I want to know what I have to do because I know I can do it, but I don't know exactly what the steps would be. So the accessibility of information that AI offers to all of us in this room is astronomical. And if you look at it from a perspective of, okay, this is information, there's always going to be bad characters out there, bad actors. They'll game the system in any way they can. But again, taking away from my experience, from a mechanical perspective, I learned the most when I was real young in PS63, Old South School, right over here, around the corner, okay? The earlier and sooner that we embed, some good ethical practice with students, with kids, the stronger and more opportunities that they're going to have later on in the job force. I'm assuming nobody here in this room has looked for or considered a career change in the last 2 years, 3 years. If you look out in the job market, they want to know, what are you doing with AI? What have you achieved? What practices do you understand? How can you support our business through AI programming or skills or some permutation of that? It is everywhere, everywhere. One of the news outlets, I don't remember who it was talking about, this is the new arms race. AI is the new race to the end, right? And so, I don't know how you want to look at that politically or otherwise, but it's actually factual, and the more that we bring our community together and our kids up, understanding how to leverage, right, for the betterment of society, for the betterment of themselves, for the betterment of, the population, the better off we're all going to be. I mean, we're all going to age out soon, right? Another 40, 50 years probably, and off we go. But they're going to be still here. And so what we're teaching and exposing to them today is critically important. Now, if you replace today, 2025, with 1965 or 1940, these same types of conversations were going on, right? So let's not impede progress. Let's support progress, embrace the moment. And I'm going to show you some things with Magic Student that can start to ease kids in, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to ease them in. We don't want to give them a fire hose. We've all been at the other end of that. That's not fun. So that's my perspective, and again, I'm out here, evangelizing this stuff because I believe in it, right? And I use it, I see it work, I see the kids, I see people like you every single day where they're like, wow, where have you been for the last, 20 years? So that's it, I'm off my soapbox. Back.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes, so Melissa's really a pioneer of this work in our school. And what I really appreciate about her is she pushes my thinking, right? Like as a teacher, she brings new things to me, and it prompts me to want to learn more about it, or she challenges me with podcasts and articles, etc. So we just want to welcome her and hear what she has to say about Magic School today.
Okay, I'm nervous. Because I want to start off by saying I'm not like an expert at all at using AI in the classroom. I'm like you, I'm an educator that has a lot of concerns around AI in the classroom. So there's going to be things that are going to pop up, and we might get into like separate conversations about them, just because I have the same concerns about authenticity, right? Like if learning is actually authentic for students in this process. So I just want to bring it back to our school mission and vision, and we are a STEM-aligned school, so that's really the push of why I'm like, why don't we integrate AI into the classroom, especially knowing that it is Pandora's box, like you said. It's here and we can't like deny it. So my focus was on Magic student, with the students, but before that, before the Magic, I did have the concerns of safety. I did have the concerns of what are some pre-assumptions that students might have about AI. And I teach 4th grade, so they're able to articulate a little bit more than younger students. So actually we came up with this contract together. Obviously I asked Magic School for a little bit of help, but after I kind of knew what direction I wanted to go in, this became seamless to the students. They knew that they had to be responsible. They were aware that AI needed simple language. I kind of turned it into, would you ask a person a million questions at one time? And they were able to understand that, like humans, in that way, AI can't think of everything at the same time. And obviously, at the end of the contract, I brought it back to making sure that Magic School is a safe space and utilizing the adults in the room to support them. Thankfully, I work in an ICT classroom currently, so we were all on the same page about how we wanted to integrate Magic School and Magic Student into the classroom. Something else about the misconceptions, and there was a lot more on here, but I didn't want to overload. Something that I know the discussion has been around is that AI thinks and understands like humans, and we know that's not necessarily true. There's a lack of emotion there. And they've seen it too, where they're like, they'll try to type into Raina and ask in a polite way a question, and they're like, she's so polite back. And I'm like, that's because you started the conversation by being polite. So just understanding that AI is not human. Also that AI doesn't completely think on its own. I know in my group earlier, before we even started, there was that we have to teach AI what we want, or kind of teach AI where we want the conversation to go. So I was telling the students that you are the prompters. You're teaching Raina, or you're teaching AI where you want the discussion to lead. And then the last thing, which I'm always emphasizing to them, is that AI isn't always accurate and is very unbiased. So I tell them that even though AI is sourcing its information from so many different places, we can't trust everything that it says to us. So even though we're getting that information, we still need to do our due diligence and double check that work. Okay. So I rolled out AI to them at Magic Student, Magic Class, Magic School, I forget the term. Magic Classroom? Magic Classroom is what it's called?
Magic Student Classrooms.
Okay, Magic
Student rooms.
Student rooms, there you go, that's it. Student rooms, which is actually really cool as an educator. You can monitor everything.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
You can monitor everything. You can see what the students are typing. There's a lot of things that get flagged. Even the word, like, I was surprised, killed got flagged. And I asked the students to research things about the American Revolution. So there was a lot of flags when that word came up. So this is just a glance of what the student rooms look like when I rolled them out. And I started slow, like Jerry said. I started the first day with one tool just to spark curiosity, which is Raina, and I'll show you a little more what that looks like. And then the following week, I showed them what character chatbot was like, and they got a chance to explore together in pairs. And then more recently, I used the informational text feature or tool, and they got hands-on practice on their own. So this was the very, very first introduction to what Magic School was, and it was like us using Raina, using an AI chatbot. And I asked the students to ask Raina any questions related to our Wit and Wisdom modules in the past. So I gave them this example. I literally typed this into the chat box in front of them. And then I pressed go, and they were so amazed to see Raina answer my question. Like, they were just through the roof. So then, after we looked over what she said to me, and after we looked over the information that was given, we kind of fact-checked it. I was like, do you remember learning about that? Is that true? And the students had a discussion about it. And they're like, wow, Raina knows about the American Revolution and the Boston Tea Party. So that was really cool to see. So I let them, after that, ask Raina a bunch of different questions. And in that Magic student rooms, you can see the questions that they've asked. Some of them chose to ask about the American Revolution. Some of them chose to ask about, I'm forgetting the book that we read. Module 2, grade 4.
George versus George?
Not George versus George. It's the boy that gets stuck, Brian.
Oh.
The hatchet. They were asking about the hatchet. So even fictional characters, they were asking about that. And Raina was surprised. Like, she surprised them. She was able to answer those questions about Brian because she had prior knowledge of the hatchet. So obviously as an educator, I'm like, I don't want them to just explore. Now I need to know where their head is at and where their thinking is at after using Magic School. So with Raina's help, I created this exit ticket. And this is actually a sample student's response. And this, I could tell, like, I was telling my group earlier, knowing your students is going to be your greatest tool in all of it. And knowing your students' skill set and knowing the specifics of where their growth needs to happen is going to support you. Because when I read this, I was like, oh yeah, he writes like that. So I was able to see that he didn't generate that. If another student, gave this response that I know they're lacking, I'm going to be like, okay, like where did you get that information?
That's my good spot.
Right. So I will say that there is a pleasantry in being able to roll out AI in a slow way and later in the school year. Because I was able to build my knowledge of the students' skills prior to introducing them to this. So then, you could look, like I said, at some of the data that pulls up after giving them that student room. And I was even able to see like summaries of the students and their engagement level with Raina. Some of them had poor engagement level because they didn't really prompt her. They were just like saying why or how come, and then they just left it at that. But these students, particularly this student, was asking very high-skilled and high-level questions. So I was able to see that conversation with her. So after looking at this, I asked myself, where is there a lack in student engagement, and how can I do to improve that? What trends am I noticing? So then the following week, I used character chatbot, which is really, I thought was the most joyful for the students, because you get to talk to a character, fictional or fiction or nonfiction, and it responds to you as that character versus responding to you as Raina. So because we're now learning about Greek mythology, I created this assignment, and I will preface that the class has grown a lot from the beginning of the school year because there was a transition from paper-based testing to computer-based testing. I really pushed like using Google Docs and using Google Classroom on them. So they were familiar with like the use of Google Docs at this time. So we went over our learning targets, and then I gave them this graphic organizer. And I said, in pairs, now go speak to the chat box as one of the Greek gods or goddesses to respond to the following questions. And with that, they also got to have very intentional discussions with each other. And they're already like over the moon about Greek mythology. They're like very excited and interested in the content. So this was an easy way to roll out that activity. This I did say, and this is where I get a little torn. I did say you can copy and paste. I said whatever information you get, you can copy and paste. But at the end, we did have a somewhat Socratic seminar about how we use the tool and how that supported our learning. And then this is just some examples of what a student typed in. So they asked the chatbot to be Hades, and then they asked the question of how are you important to Greek mythology? And then the chatbot answered as Hades. And then after that, I think Dr. Ben drilled it in my mind to always look at the data after. So after that, I looked at the difference now of their interactions with Reina versus the character chatbot. And I saw that with the character chatbot, there was a little less engagement, or a little less, there was a little lower of a skill in thinking and questioning. I think they were so excited with that character coming to life that they just like ask simple questions like, what do you do today? Or like, what are you doing today? Or like, what things do you enjoy? Whereas when they were talking to Reina, the conversation was a little more rigorous, I found. And then the final tool that they used was the informational text tool. And this is really helpful, as we know, as like upper elementary school teachers, to really push students to analyze the text that they see, and that evidence and elaboration part, right? So for this, again, I used Magic School to help me create this assignment, but I was able to have the students now generate their own informational text. And this is where it kind of gets a little tricky, because I saw a lot of copy and pasting. But then as an educator, that's where I kind of had to go back and be like, okay, how are you going to elaborate on this? How is this going to support now your topic statement or your topic sentence? And then again, going back to, you know your students, you know who's struggling with what. So there are moments where I'm like, you didn't write this. Like, now tell me in your own words what you're thinking. So I will say the biggest push is monitoring as an educator, monitoring their documents, monitoring Magic School and the student room. So this was an example of a informational text that one of the students came up. And one of the things too is you could change the text length. So some of them put like a paragraph, and I was like, do you think you're gonna get a lot of information from just a paragraph? So even pushing them to like kind of generate bigger or lengthier text, because you know they're gonna try to get away with not reading as much. But that was super helpful, and this they did independently, and we were able to go back and look at that assignment. And then I gave them a survey, because I wanted to see where their mind was at. A lot of my students were easy to say, like, I love Magic School, and I love Reina, because now I could see their minds thinking, like, I could ask her for all these questions. But then we even got into a discussion about math, and using Reina for math. And I'm like, okay, Reina's going to give you the answer, but are you going to be able to show me how you got the answer? So even having those conversations about authenticity with your students, I feel like could be helpful. I think that the class now has a good understanding of AI is not very reliable, and that there's still a lot of work that we have to do on our end. But they will say certain things like, yes, they like AI because they're not staring for evidence in a book. Now they could stare at a screen for evidence. So it's a little different. But I even found this to be interesting, where one of my students said that it's sometimes hard to ask specific questions. So even understanding that there's still that misconception with that AI may not give them the answer that they're necessarily looking for. And then that's
it. Okay, so we wanted to give her a little Q&A time. Yes. So do you have any questions for Melissa?
Literally
a minute.
How much time did it take to prep for the second, after you did the first group and going into the next lesson, you saw how the kids interact?
I would say that it took like a prep period plus I used a lot of AI to support me. Plus, thankfully, my co-teacher and I are very intentional and like work together about our planning. So sometimes I'll be sitting there and I think the assignment looks great, or even the prep work looks great, and then I'll be like, is there something I'm missing? And I think that that was helpful because there are things that I might not catch in terms of what are misconceptions that might happen, what might students struggle with. So I think definitely, because I feel like this is such a big movement and because it is Pandora's box, I would definitely leverage using like colleagues and even Dr. Ben. Sometimes I'll, be like, does this look okay? Or I'll show her a picture and she's like, I'm coming up.
Right.
Yes.
Did you find yourself like when they're actually in the assignment monitoring via your like the Reina or the Magic School platform, or like more finding yourself going around and helping the kids like ask the questions or give them feedback in real time?
Right.
Like how did you monitor it?
So a little bit of both. Thankfully, I love sharing my screen to show them what I'm looking at because that entices them a little more. So I'll have that screen open of like showing that I'm moderating, but I'll also occasionally walk around. And if I see students really engaged in having like really intentional conversation about Reina, I'll like pop in to see what they're talking about. But if I see that students are like so into it and they're just typing away, I'm so interested to know what's going on their screen. So I'll pop in and see and kind of prompt them on what are you doing right now? How is this improving you learning and things like that. But again, I'm going to say I'm not a pro or a professional. I'm learning too. So even if you saw something that you're like, there's a misconception that I might have missed or something that we didn't address, like I'd find that helpful if you told me because I'm trying to learn as I go as well.
You almost got away. There was a slide where you were looking at the level of engagement, and it ranked. Did you rank it or the system?
No, the system
ranks it. My question is, the students who are showing low to average engagement, that's data obviously. What's the takeaway, or what is the next teacher move for those students in particular?
Right. So I think my immediate teacher move was I wanted to understand, was there something that they may be struggling with that's hindering them from producing those prompts? So what I found is my ENL students were struggling to produce prompts. I also found that students that struggle with phonetics were struggling to produce prompts. So I pulled them for that next activity into a group. And that was helpful because then I'm now able to kind of have them in one section and kind of lead that discussion or provide a little bit more support when they're engaging with it.
Fantastic. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you,
Thank
Melissa. And so we're going to segue into Jerry. Jerry's now going to teach you how to use Magic Student. Do you want to take a few minutes before Jerry?
Take 5. Give them 5.
Okay, so we'll take a 5-minute break.
A couple of courses that are available for students. So, if your students are capable of following along in these very simple certification courses, they will get a very nice introduction to Magic School before they even get their hands on Magic Student. Okay? I'm not going to click them. You guys can check them out for yourselves. But they are there, and they are located under the PD offering, right? Go for PD resources and Magic School Cert courses. Okay? Please check those out. That's the only homework I'm going to give you at this point. Okay. Magic Student can be found right here. Okay? Check out Magic Student. The first thing that we're looking at is a dashboard, right? So my recent student rooms that I've created, some student room templates, right? And there's a whole bunch of them that we make available for project-based learning. How do I support ELL, ESLs? SEL development, right? Different focus. You can use these room templates as you wish, or you can create your own. I'm just letting you know that they're there, right? Okay, some quick videos. When I go later this morning, and you go, what did Jerry say about that? You can find everything right here about Magic School. Okay, this is your resource bundle. The student rooms that I've created are going to be listed here under my student rooms. Oh, look, we've got D19 Exploration. I might have created that already. These are all the rooms that I've created, and you can see that I've got 18 so far. Different school districts, different schools, PS 110, the Bronx Rules, we created it for that. Okay? You can name these rooms whatever you want and have as many of them as you want. The logic behind that is really up to you, right? Once you understand the functionality and what's affordable to you here, you'll understand more what I'm talking about. The tools playground. Okay. These are the 50 plus tools that you can make available to your students. You can make 0 available to them. You can make 1, like we had. Your first week, second week, third week. Or first day, second day, third day. Right? This is where you're going to program. I want to add a character chatbot. I want to build a custom chatbot. I want some study bot. I want a math review, tutor me with AI, maybe a little help with study habits. What you put into your student room is completely up to you. Okay? I'm going to show you how I build a student room. I'm going to configure some tools, and then you're all going to join it as students. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. Then what we're going to do, the hands-on exercise, is you're going to make rooms of shelves. Okay? Okay. You're going to play. Okay. So, first thing I start with, creating my new room. The focus of my room, give me a lesson. What is somebody teaching that's interesting today, yesterday, tomorrow? What lessons do we have? Somebody call it out. I don't care.
Biodiversity.
Biodiversity. I think we did that before. Okay, let's talk about biodiversity. Biodiversity, I spell it right? Diversity room. And I'm just going to give it today's date, 5/29, 25. What grade level?
You can say ninth grade.
9th grade. Okay. I'm going to leave max students at 250. That's fine. Default language is English. It's okay?
Yeah.
Who had some ENLs and ESLs that were struggling? I could create rooms that are specific languages or other languages supported outside of just English. Right? So right now I'm starting to differentiate. 2 different rooms, same lesson, same topic, same tools. All right. We're going to leave it in English for now. I click Next. Now, first question. Select tools for your students. What tools do we want to put in biodiversity? Research assistant? Sure. You could tutor me with AI. Okay. Raina. Here's Raina. I'm going to did I put a character chatbot in there already? No, I'm going to add a character chatbot. Let's leave it at this for right now because we're going to get the experience. Okay, the next thing, me creating my room, I can now customize these specific tools. We're going to customize one so you see how it's done. I'm going to customize my character chatbot. I'm going to specify who this person is that my students are going to talk to. Who's the Charles Darwin? Is he a good reference for biodiversity?
No, that's not.
Give me somebody. Who? Who's an expert in the field? Putting you on the spot, I'm sorry. Ask Raina. Let's go with Charles Darwin just to make it easy. Taking the pressure off. Meet Charles Darwin. Okay? Okay. I'm going to change the description. Have a chat with Charles Darwin. Okay? The read aloud voice, I can specify 4 different voices. We'll leave it as Aria. 9th grade. Okay. Character, author, historic figure. You are Charles Darwin. Okay. I'm going to turn this off so the students don't see it here. The next thing is going to be to generate and test it. Greetings, young scholar. I'm Charles Darwin, a naturalist who developed the theory of evolution. Okay, what aspects of natural history and evolution would you like to explore together? Keep our discussion focused on scientific matters, just as I did my studies at Cambridge throughout my career. Let's have an exchange. okay, this looks great so far. I'm going to go ahead and save that. So now, Charles Darwin is in my room. I've got my research assistant, TutorMe AI, and Raina. Here, I'm ready to go. I can launch my room. When I launch my room, there's going to give me 3 ways to join. I can use a URL code. I could drop it into Google Classroom, or I could put a little QR code on and they could shoot it with their iPad or phone or whatever, and that will bring them into the room. Here is the code. How can I get it to everybody here? Are we all on an email thread by any chance? No?
The D19.
The Google Drive.
Yeah.
Do I have access to that? I don't think I have access to it.
We can use our phone, so the QR code.
Okay, you want to try out the QR code?
Yeah, that's better.
Or you can type that in, visit student.magicschool.ai/join, enter code GK3Y. I prefer that you use it on your laptop so you'll get the full experience. As a hero, right away. Boom, ready. Okay, notice what pops on your screen when you log in. Okay, this is what the student is experiencing. Some guidelines, some ethical language, use it appropriately. Okay, now, when you're in my room, go ahead and explore. Have a conversation with Charles Darwin. Ask him where he was born. Somebody say, I hate you. This is stupid. We'll see some moderation kick in, and what I see as your teacher.
Is it case sensitive?
It probably is. Okay, everybody's joining. Yep, there's your splash screen. There are the tools that are available. We selected those tools. Here, Charlie. Ask him a question. Yep. Ask him what he knows about biodiversity. Just forget those.
I have to refresh it. Sometimes I can.
Okay, Lisa said, what animal do you hate? Got flagged because of the word hate. Okay? I'm moderating now, right? So I'm going to take a look. Okay, Karen. All right, this is stupid. You don't know anything. Student is distracted. Dismiss the assistant-specific information is stupid. They need to reminder from the assistant about respectful discourse. Right? Got the reminder there. In my room activity tab, now I'm starting to see some of the metrics that were shared earlier, right? Key metrics, generation, the different tools that are being used, student activity. As you guys use and populate, these numbers will start to tick up. I hate finches, they're dumb. Wow, Alicia, you're cruel. Okay, on your screen, you've got the action buttons down below. You see that? You see the little bottom right action? Click on that. You're an L student. You can translate that into Spanish or a different language if you'd like. You could actually ask Charles to provide responses in Spanish. Okay. Once you're done with Charles and you're bored of him, you can kick out and go check out Raina. From a student perspective, ask Raina about biodiversity. Remember, Raina for us as leaders is the next step, right? The discrete tools that we make available in Magic School, like the lesson planner, rubric generator, you can get all of that through Raina once you're comfortable with the prompting and specifically asking for what it is that you need. People graduate to her almost exclusively after a period of time. students could do the same. You're a student now, you're struggling with English, click on read aloud. Have it read back to you. They kicked you out? If for some reason Alicia gets out of hand, hating on my finches more, in my status I can pause her activity, or I can lock her out, right, here, some capabilities. Other action, I can remove the student from the room if they're being disruptive in a manner, or maybe not following along, or perhaps they have to be removed from the room, physically removed from the room. Right? As teachers, we have that capacity and capability. If I click into any one particular student, let's see, Erica, what you're doing. Okay, again, if I wanted to generate a summary and see all of what Erica has been kind of working on, Magic School can generate a summary for you here. Okay, tools used, behavioral notes, strengths and interests, areas for improvement. Okay, looking good. Okay, areas for improvement, maybe use PBL to deepen knowledge. All right, curious about biodiversity and evolution. Asks thoughtful questions. Way to go, Erica. Cool. All right, that's my room.
No question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I asked it to give a picture. Is that something that's going to be rolling out or eventually part of the Magic School platform, like in
Image creation.
like I said, can you give me a picture? Like I asked about tourists, and give me all the information, but now I'd like to see what it looks like.
Yeah, we are not, the only thing that we're doing with pictures is image generation through Adobe, through that Adobe tool. We, for whatever reason, you know, the image capability, while ChatGPTs and the others do that, we're not allowing that. Because I believe, I might be speaking out of turn now, I don't think there's a good confidence in what's being returned is accurate. Again, remember, we are guardrails because we are for schools.
Is that why it went, like also I said, all right, give me a website, you gave me very generic, but it didn't give me an actual website, same reason. Gotcha.
Now, you as the educator, if you went and asked for it in that same thread, Raina would probably give it to you. If you're in the magic,
Oh, and the teacher.
magic, yeah, on the magic school side.
Try it that way.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay, we want to moderate it. Pandora, we want to keep Pandora in the box and just open it enough so that there's value.
Oh, when you were talking about like the moderate and high, that's, what is that, the level of engagement or the level of questioning? What was that again?
Oh, from here.
Greetings, young student.
All right.
It won't give
Yeah,
it to you.
so
in the-
minimally engaged and moderately, like what is they referring?
That's based on how frequently you're typing in prompts and
Okay,
how
so it
fast
just
you're
means, like-
interacting. Yeah,
okay.
if you were like flying through prompts and getting information, you would see high engagement, right? Moderately, it's like, okay, you're not really distracted, you're going, you're doing well. I could read through your all of your prompting and what was given to you here, right? So I can see exactly what the tool is, what Rain is giving back to you. I can read through it. Okay, this looks good. All right, then we go to
So how
control.
would you know if the kid just sitting there pretending to?
Well, yeah, you can see that in the prompting. Alicia engaged in a conversation about bird beaks with Darwin, initially asking them, expressing a negative opinion about finches, which led to a discussion on their intelligence. All right. Flag content, harassment, hate. Okay? All right. So, You can leave that room open, or we can lock it, pause it, end it. We're not going to do that right now. That is one simple room that I created as a teacher. So now, what you can do is I want you to leave Magic Student, go back to Magic School. Right, click on that top left. Actually, no, you're going to be logged in as students. And completely close out of that browser and log back into Magic School. There you go. And click on Login. Now you're no longer my students. You are teachers, and I am your student.
I just want to make a statement. I went into the research person, and it does give you all different links, videos that they can click on.
Okay, there you go. All right, create a student. Go check out Magic Student in the top right. That's how I got there. Go ahead and create a room, give it a name, drop in some tools, customize those tools, try a rap battle, give the kids some fun stuff to do. Did we do the rap battle here?
One group picked it for an activity.
Yeah. I did a rap battle yesterday between Beyonce and Taylor Swift over ratios and fractions. Beyonce won, happily. Check out the student tools. What's available there in the tools playground. Book suggestions, summarize it, debate partner, AI literacy bot, and how do you use artificial intelligence, prompt assistant, depending upon where you are. Make it relevant, and real-world connections are very good for students that like to ask, why am I doing this? Why do I need algebra? Why do I need geometry? Who cares about civics? Boston Tea Party. I'm from New York, I don't care about Boston. You could create a custom chatbot that has all of the information about your class for the year, things that they might need to reference. I'm just riffing now. Your expectations of the many contracts that they would sign as your students. Put that in every room if you want. Once you create your room, if you'd like, turn to the person to your left or right, share your URL with them, let them log in and play, and you can do the same for them. Language learning tutor is a popular one. I've had teachers grouping students 5 and 6 at a table. They had, one was like pros and cons. They were doing like a pro and con debate type setup, but they also had the room set up for multilingual support. How you roll that out is completely up to you. College and career counselor. I know a lot of adults that could use that. Say you have a student struggling with what to create for the science fair or for a project that they're working on. You might invite them to a room to interface with the idea generator tool. You can specify. Students are going to be coming to you with questions about what they can create for the science fair. It's 4th grade. Please be supportive of their questions. Drop them in there for a few minutes. And probably one of the most popular, by far, is our AI writing feedback tool, which is right there. Students can drop their writing and get feedback immediately. Oh, sorry, I'm still charged up.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes?
When students use this and they're dropping their work or something into it, does it become part of your database?
Hell no.
It's deleted out of.
You know.
Because I feel that would be like a red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag. Anything that we capture, we're going to capture the generation so you can review it. Then after 30 days, that information goes away. Right, but we're storing that on the Magic School, our company's database.
Yeah.
It's not being passed to any of the language models, OpenAI's, Gemini's, all that. No, that's no. We do not allow data to be passed. Did anybody create a room that has the writing feedback tool in it? Can we do that? No? You did? Did you program the tool with all this stuff so the student could not see it? They just get the opportunity to write something or paste something in?
Not yet.
Okay.
I just added
The tool.
the tool.
Okay. I want you to customize that. I want you to tell the tool how it's going to react. All these fields right here, and I want you to hide them so the student doesn't see it. You're going to tell it what the assignment is. You're going to tell it what type of feedback you want it to give, or attach a rubric if you have one. No problem. If not, you could always create one in Magic School real quick. Any additional instructions you want to include? Joke. You want it to be multilingual. Whatever the feedback is that you want it to customize. I want you to hide these so that it's when the student comes in, they only see this box when they go to use that tool. Okay, that's your challenge. Let me see if you can do it.
How do you edit it once you made it? Once
Once you made a tool,
yeah. Once you made it.
you can edit it anytime. So go to, right, so go back to your students. Changing webs, okay. Click on that room right there. Click that. Yep. Scroll. Nope, no scrolling right here. 3 dots. Edit room. I knew it was there somewhere. Sorry.
Perfect.
Remember, you put me on the spot.
I'm sorry. Oh, good. I was playing around. I couldn't find it.
How are we doing? Yeah, and you have plus. Doesn't matter. You have the same functionality. Folks with enterprise belong to schools that have licenses. You have plus for those.
Okay.
So you're going to go back to the principal. I need Magic slide. Yes. Got you.
No, if I would be able to, I just need basic I did it. So, we are. What was that tools? Stuff in here that's like, I'm sure.
Send me your
Okay.
What you're, yes, that is an example, you're testing your customization. Right, so if that's not what you want, you want them to build out a schema.
Yes.
Okay,
It's right there.
so cancel out of there. Okay. Right, so this is the tool, right? The best baker. What is the length of the skit? So you're programmatically telling everything that you would, I would like that out. Like remove that. Don't just leave it.
Because it was already like that. It had said 5 minutes and I changed it to 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then you put in here
Yeah,
with
put
the
this
characters.
in.
Let the student clear that stuff out. Right, you see, it's now blank. Clear out Mount Olympus. Or if you want them to say you want to say it's Mount Olympus. You don't want them modifying it except you can put Mount Olympus and then turn that off. Right? That'll hide the field. God bless.
Thank you.
Okay. What is the plot? You let them go ahead and go in and fill the plot. There you go.
All right, then now we're done.
Now you're done. Now you're done. See now, who are the characters? What is the plot? And you know it's going to be on Mount Olympus.
Okay, I already gave them the idea though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's right.
Beneficial side.
So that's a view of what students would see based on what you have selected. Okay. So now you, as a teacher, you could describe what the assignment is.
Gotcha, so you just asking, so after you customize this part, we're gonna show all these other.
So we have a trial.
So the student right now, if I'm your student, I'm going to see this. I have to describe what the assignment is. I don't know if I want to describe it. So as you, the teacher, I would go in here and actually describe the assignment. And then turn it off. See, so a student doesn't need to describe it.
I literally just I know, because I'm not so like, what if not what I learned? Put it in attach it to my time. Can I do it from here or do I have to download it?
From where you generated it, right? Download it, and then just use the paper clip in the actual assignment, right as we back up. Okay? Activity area, you're going to start to see the filters that are available to you and some of the generation. Like in this particular room that I'm looking at, I've got 191 students, 139 have had generations. Here are the top tools that are being used. And then student activity, the actual students, I can see what they're doing. And if I wanted to drill into them, I could do that. Andrew James, so this is going to be just for Andrew. Right? Here's his thread. This was some of the material that, Melissa, is it you? Your name, Melissa? I love you, Melissa, thank you. So what Melissa was sharing is all here. It's all listed under the room activity area. Okay? So what did we learn today? We learned a lot. We learned it's about a 1.5 mile walk from the train station. So Magic Student is available to roll out in the cadence that you want and with the tools that you want the students to start to be exposed to. We have certification courses for students. Prior to doing anything, they can walk through and see what they're going to be, obviously exposed to. Then you can invite them into rooms that you build. You can have an unlimited number of rooms. You can support your ESL students, your ICT or your IEP students, special ed. You can differentiate. You can customize tools to provide those supports and resources. But it's all based on what you want them exposed to. If you don't want them exposed to RANA, don't expose them to RANA yet. Perhaps at some point, within the community of the school, you might come up and say, all right, first grade, second grade, we're going to do very basic stuff. Third grade, fourth grade, we're going to start to introduce tools. Fifth grade, ready for RANA. I don't know. So those are some of the conversations that you're going to want to start to have as it becomes, more front and center. And you guys are the leaders now, so lead.